5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good morning. Yes, it is morning. How are you doing? Look, you can't have too many rants at the moment. That's what I say. We had the hors d'oeuvres last night with myself and Brad. We're on to the main course this morning. There is a warning going across the bottom. I feel I do have to put this warning up when I have this guest on. I've got to say, it's not often you do an AI image and the person comes out looking more handsome than they actually are, but that has happened there. It is LTID TV. How the devil are you? Welcome along. Big Down Under. We're going to be talking to Leicester's favourite Aussie fan, probably one of our only Aussie fans at the moment. And a great big welcome this morning to any Leeds fans that are watching. They've been queuing up, trying to get in early. Apparently, their knees are killing them. I don't know how true that is. But look, we'll bring him in. Let's do it. And bring my very special guest in all the way down from Down Under. Of course, it's Luke. Good morning, young man.
How you going, mate? All right, good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, first of all, welcome along, and a nicer good morning to Steph, of course, who is the nicer of the two of you. That's all I'll say. And they're not yours, are they, by any chance?
No, I just realised what that was. I was like, what is that? It's a ball sack bottle opener. I don't know how you feel like that. I'd love to see your Google search history.
Oh, you don't. Believe you me. Can I just say, I have never seen so many testicles on sale as I have done when I went to Australia. It's almost like it's a national sport. You know, collecting kangaroos. There must be lots of kangaroos hopping the way all around Australia, having transitioned, having lost their balls.
Yeah, donating ball bags.
Even worse, because of course I came over and you very kindly put me up for a few days, and I went over then to the Gold Coast. They actually have a condom shop over there.
Yeah, better be safe than sorry. I also remember when you nearly had a nervous breakdown when you asked for some vinegar with your fish and chips, and they didn't bring you out the spray. They bought you a plate of vinegar. What am I going to fucking do with that?
Look, it's Australia. You're weird down there. You are just weird, full stop. Let's have a couple of good mornings. First of all, Prashant, thank you very much. New member has joined. I really, really do appreciate that. Greg is in. Morning, Chris. Hope you're well. I am. Oh, that's all gone very wrong. Just bear with. Because I don't know why that is coming up a different way. Let me try that. At the moment, there you go. That's it. Greg says, morning, Luke. What time is it over there?
6:08 p.m. I'll give you a lot of numbers after the show, Greg.
I'm sure you will. Never felt less interested in City, Chris. Thanks, James. How are you doing? Know what you mean, though. Honestly, sick to death of being treated as a customer and the club accepting our downfall. Serious changes are needed, but won't be made Rudkin out. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but I actually did a show and I interviewed a very nice lady, Lynn, from Fox's Trust, which you can join. UK's £10. I think it's £15 for the year overseas, but they do get involved with the club. And I learned a lot, to be honest with you. But I guess she was trying to make a sort of distinction between the fact that football clubs these days are businesses, but we are still not just customers, are we?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, if I were to say to you, like, if you could give one word to describe what the Premier League really is now, 80% chance most people's answers are going to come back business. And we are, you're right, being left behind the times. A lot of people we'll touch on it with the whole King Power thing, but I think a lot of people, I understand why people want to remain loyal to them and be careful what you wish for. But if you just isolate the past success, particularly a lot of it under Veach, I do genuinely believe that as a business standpoint, it's not good what we've done the last 4 or 5 years. It's catastrophic.
It is, but if I said to you, and somebody said this to me the other day, would you do it all again? As in, would you take the Premier League title, the FA Cup win, the 2 top 5 finishes, European football, Champions League quarter-final, Europa League semi-final? Would you take all that again for a short period, knowing at the end that you were going to get relegated? Now, I must admit, maybe because I'm a bit older, I would. Every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Would you?
Yeah, I would, because like I understand why people think, like, this is what I said to Chris the other day on the phone. I understand what people may call particularly younger fans entitled. I agree with you. Yes, I would. Because if you think of all the teams that have been like lifelong fans of the 4th and 5th division, have been stuck down there for decades, they'd bite their hand off to even playing the Championship, let alone the Premier League or any of the things you mentioned. Absolutely, you'd have to take it. What worries me most is I just feel like with all the momentum that we built, with all the sales from players and et cetera that we made, I feel like we're on the docks and the cruise has left us and it's not coming back. That's what I feel like. I feel like we missed an opportunity of momentum.
I have to say it's not often, and you might want to clip this, but I actually agree with you because the advantage that we had with the training ground that we had is disappeared, because I am, as you know, I live down on the south coast near Bournemouth. Bournemouth got the smallest club in the Premier League, stadium-wise. They are currently about to complete their training facilities, very similar in looks to Seagrave. And I'm like, well, what advantage have we had from having that? Because all I see is more injuries than we ever seem to used to have before it. It's our players. Somebody said yesterday it's like a 5-star hotel. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because I think even Albrighton came out and said that like togetherness is not really there. They're saying they're not doing the dishes there, like they're proper pampered. I think it would, like, in one hand, you would think that if they're trying to allure someone from Europe or something in the transfer market, if we've got money and we're actually going to spend and not get lied to, that bringing them over, their agents and stuff like that, rolling out the red carpet, bringing them through Seagrave, I would imagine it would be a lot easier to sweeten the deal, especially when Rudkin's given out crazy contracts on top of it. But if they're too relaxed, they're too comfortable, and you've got people like Connor Cody, Yannick Vestergaard, IU, twilight of their career, good enough to prove, and they're going to be guaranteed a spot in the 11. There's just no graft, in my opinion. I think we've gone back. And you're right about the injuries too, by the way. It's been catastrophic.
And when we say here, Gray says we should have kicked on after winning the Prem. I think that was the problem. That was really the start of the downfall, because we'd won the Premier League, and then all of a sudden it's like, we do need to kick on. We do need to move forward. And I keep going back to Leeds, and you're too young to probably remember this, being the baby that you are. I don't mean that as a horrible baby, but you're a lot younger than us. And Leeds United, tried to do what we did, tried to win the Premier League, they tried to win the Champions League, they went all out, they were buying players left, right and centre, and they literally went bump and they went down to the third tier. Unlike us, didn't get out of it straight away. We're down there a couple of years. They sailed too close to the sun and burnt the wings, and that's what I did. That's what we did. But surely that was what the fans would have demanded. You know, yes, it hasn't worked out, and that probably is the biggest cause of our problems, because we probably tried to live beyond our means.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because, like, I remember you had that bloke on your show that was explaining, like, the FFP, I think, last season. He said that there was a unanimous, I think it had to be like a majority vote, 14 out of 20, I believe. So Leicester City very well may have voted in favour of FFP, PSR, PPP, whatever the fuck you want to whatever, PPI. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
PPI. But we've agreed to that, but we went away from the model of making one big sale per signing, and then we went for it, to be fair. We were like, got back-to-back fifth. People say, Rick, we should have got Champions League. I understand, but you would bite your hand off just to be in European or Europa League again, yeah? And then we got, Samari, Daka. So we spent money, but it was just unfortunately on the wrong players. So, yeah, similar to Leeds, I believe you're talking about after when they sold Cantona. So
it was, and it's a good point you make about the selling, because although we weren't, I don't know, we're still not necessarily a selling club, as in we don't have to, like we used to, you know, selling Lineker, you know, kept us going. And that's how we survived, because we're not the biggest club. But that's the way we sort of moved forward, was to buy cheap, sell on. Harry Maguire, Riyad Mahrez. Not that we had to, but when it came then to Yuri Tielemans, he basically, you know, last season we had a 40 million PSR issue. We paid 40 million for him, and he walked from the club. He wouldn't sign a new contract so that we got some money. Harry Maguire did. Harry Maguire came along and said, look, you saved me when I was with Hull and got relegated. I know Man United want me. I want Man United, my team. But I'm going to sign a new contract, but I'm going to put so many conditions in. I can talk to this club, I can talk to that club, but at least you'll get some money. And that's why we got 80 million for him, because he'd signed that contract. Yet Yuri Tielemans was so selfish and up his own arse that he said, no, I'm not signing, because I'll get a bigger sign-on fee then. I'll get bigger wages because you're not having to pay it. That's, I think, the start of where things started to go wrong financially, and that was down to the player.
Yep, we pissed around to, like, that season. Like, I've never loved and hated a player so much in my life. I love him forever for that FA Cup rocket that he scored, but at the same time, I hate him for his effort in that season and doing what he did. I think he was linked to Arsenal for 20 million. Yeah, it would have been a loss, but it's better than $0.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know. And in that same season, you got Tielemans, Suyonsu, Evans, Mendy. Who else? Pratt. I don't know. Pratt stayed the next season. I'm trying to think. We had a long list of players that just left for absolutely. Amati was another one, all for nothing at that season. Yeah. It was.
Yeah. That's the problem, though, isn't it? You can't force players to sign a contract. And look, they have every right to say, "This is my life, my career. I will do what is best for me and my family." So I do understand that from their side, but they have to have a bit of, like, you know, it's like, if you know, I got poached for a job once, and I went for more money, but I worked my notice. I did what I did for the company. While I was at that company, I did my best. Tielemans down tools. He didn't play, as Gray said. You know, Rodgers kept picking him. But you know, when you've got players like that, and sometimes I'm thinking, like, it would have been better, as you've just said, to accept a lesser amount, but to let them go. Because if we're saying, like, we don't want 40 million we want 40 million for Tielemans, we can't sell him. Look, we'll take 20. It gets us off the wage book, gets us 20 in, and somebody might buy it. Surely that's the better thing to do. And again, as Greg said, it's down to mismanagement.
Oh, absolutely. Like, same thing about pissing around of Pratt and loans and quibbling over $1 million or $2 million. Just if he doesn't want to be here, and if he's not going to get regular minutes, get him gone, get some of that money back and reinvest it into something else. It's just ridiculous. Yeah,
no, totally. Interesting thing is, I put a poll up. He wasn't very happy, but I put him up anyway on Twitter yesterday, or X, whatever it's called these days. What would you sooner have? Owners like the Glaziers and Ineos at Manchester United guaranteed EPL football. Let's be honest, they're not going to go down every season and buying star names, but being past that super, where they're winning everything every season? Or would you sooner have Leicester, where you got owners that are willing to invest? Yes, they make mistakes, but they write the money off. So which would you sooner have owners? Now, the interesting thing is the split was 65% wanted Leicester owners, but 34%, they're not necessarily all Leicester fans, but 34% wanted Man United owners. That surprised me. So would you take mid-table mediocrity to stay in the Premier League year in, year out, but have a club like Manchester United?
That's a tricky one. I lean towards the United because I think the problem is when you look at clubs like if let's say Enzo gets a sack, you look at clubs like Chelsea and United, and they have their money, they do the backing, but they have a roulette of managers that come in and out with different kinds of styles. So they're constantly spending money, and then when a new manager comes in because they don't have the patience or the time because of the amount of money they're investing and expecting results yesterday. I believe that there's just a never-ending problem of different players that don't fit the next manager's style. Hence why I think they struggle, and they will never have the patience and time to do, like, let's say, a rebuild because they're spending, $500 million per transfer window, which is absolutely mental. So I know that's a long-winded. It doesn't really answer your question. I would say yes, I'd rather mediocrity and stay in the Premier League, but then just the complete erraticness that's been the last 3 seasons, mate.
No, yeah, I kind of get what you said. And the other thing as well is last time we went down, let's be honest with you, I don't think we were expecting to go down. We always had that belief that, look, with the players we'd got, we were probably not saying too good to go down, but, we should have stayed up, possibly. And who knows whether we could have moved on from there or not. But they were saying like we weren't ready for it. Surely we've got to be ready for it this time. I mean, from sort of week 2, virtually, we knew we were probably going to get relegated. No points deduction, which maybe gave us a false sense of belief. But we've got to be preparing for life in the Championship, haven't we?
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to be, which is really frustrating about the whole thing. Like, I felt like we're relegated the second we signed Rodgers. We just completely went against everything that was set up under Enzo, whether you liked his football or not. Like, we don't have the money to be spending crazy amounts, so we need to stick with the model that we've got and utilize the players to their strengths, not go against everything and start for Towers a left wing back. Like, that was crazy from Cooper. It was a damning sign to see. But what bothers me the most, right, is if we go back to the last relegation season, in my opinion, it was kind of over when Rodgers came out and said, well, these players have overachieved. So what is that going to do for your confidence as a player if you hear your gaffer say that? And also add into the fact that a lot of those players their contracts have run down to either 1 year or no years left at all. They're going to be like, well, fuck this. My manager thinks we're overachieving. I'm out of here at the end of the season anyway. And then no one puts a fight in. And now we've got Ruud van Nistelrooy coming out, like in his last game before saying, I think it was against Brentford, saying, well, these players just can't do, they're just not up to the level, essentially, is what he said. Like, we can't compete with these teams. It's defeatist, in my opinion. Same thing. Doesn't really inspire confidence.
No. I'm going to ask you now, I'm going to go back to the start of the season because I can't remember what your position was. And I'm going to admit, look, we're football fans, we're fickle, we change our mind more often than we change our underwear, especially if you're Australian. And you look at, were you a Cooper in or a Cooper out at the start when he came in? Did you want Cooper? Were you happy with Cooper?
I was already pissed off when we were linked with him. That's how much I hated him and did not want him. And I don't hate him. I hated his football compared to what we were playing. I just felt like it didn't make sense, and I also felt like we were lied to when he told us he'd watched every single game.
But when we sacked him, he had to go. I mean, like I said, as much as I wanted him, because I believe, and I still believe he probably would have kept us up, albeit not playing exciting football. It might have been on goal difference. But look at how things are now, and we'll come on to Ruud in a minute. But at that particular point, although I wanted him at the start of the season, I had to admit I did want him to go. And it was very much a case of be careful what you wish for moment. I'm sure you wanted him to go as well when he went.
I screamed for him to go from nearly the game. I really didn't like him, mate. But I think him just not playing Ricardo Pereira just aggravated me week upon week. That was just a sackable offence in itself. So there is a lot of people who come onto a Ruud that, like, I'll talk about how much I dislike him as well. But for what it's worth, I do think it's worth pointing out that Cooper had Fatau, Manson Manson, and Didi, and also Ricardo Pereira's disposal, and didn't use two of them. He barely played Mavadidi either. So I think it's a little tricky to compare the two with the same amount of time.
A lot of people say this about, oh, he didn't have this player, he didn't have that player. Manson Manson, when he's come back in after his injury, we're still losing. We're still letting a couple of goals in every game. Indeed, he's come back. We haven't won any, games since he's come back. Yeah, I can't remember whether he played against Tottenham, but so a lot of people say he hadn't got this. I agree with Ricardo Pereira when he's saying he wanted experience and he had him sat on the bench. Coming down then to Rude signing, I know he's had to deal with the same sort of, let's say he can't polish a turd, and he's had turds that have been left there. Were you sort of, oh, great, we've got Rude? Because to me, it gave the club that buzz that we had when we signed Enzo.
It was different to me because I feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but the aura that Enzo had just felt like a lot more sure of himself. He'd just come off working of arguably the best manager in the world with Pep Guardiola winning the treble. He had that time at Parma, but he wasn't back, and I believe he came in during the season. He only got 14 games. Lower-end team, you could say similar to Enzo with what he has available, his tools, but what's important is he came back, won the treble, and then he came to us like, I don't think that Ruud van Nistelrooy could have done what Enzo did if he had in the same position swapped last season. I don't think he would have had as good start to the season. I think that obviously he's probably going to come under that bracket now as Rooney, Lampard, and Gerrard, like excellent player, but not such a good manager. He had one season at PSV. He obviously worked at the youth there as well, but he's not developing our youth, so that's not been proven. And then with what he has got available, we're basically a small fish in a big pond, complete opposites here, the Dutch league. I'm not convinced on him, mate, to be honest with you. But yes, to answer your question, so I ranted there. Anything was better than Cooper, but I will be honest, I was a little apprehensive. I wasn't like saying, yep, this is the way forward. It was like, right, let's see what he could do. Anything's better than Cooper.
That was it. I think at the time it was anyone but Cooper. AOBC, as they say. But I don't know, Rude had that kind of thing about him, didn't he? They're sort of like, oh, it's Rude. And we got to get him in, etc. He had a very good interview, beating us twice, and what have you. So I wanted Rude. Now I'm thinking he has no fucking idea what he's doing. I said a while ago that, the best thing that Faye's mother could have done was keep her legs shut. And I've got to say, moving on, I think the best thing that Ruud van Nistelrooy's mother could have done is spat rather than swallowed. Because he is absolutely... You think you can come on here and take this show down, mate? I've taken it down way many more times. He is, to my mind... And I've got to say, as much as I hate, and I'm a typical fan in that I do sort of hate certain players at times, and Wout Faes is just taking somebody else's oxygen off. And, but Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's got no idea. He's actually, his record is actually worse than Cooper. If somebody said to me, look, we're going to sack Ruud and bring Cooper back, I'd actually say, yes, go for it. That's
so depressing because I would have to agree. I hate that I have to agree with you on that as well. It's so stupid and ridiculous. Like Ruud van Nistelrooy constantly starting Bobby Donkey over Reed, I like to call him, and Jordan Ayew, the turtle. Like, what are you doing? Like, they're not wingers. Like, they're so slow. Like, what's the stat? Is it for the front three we've been playing? Like Jamie Vardy, Turtle Ayew, and Bobby Donkey over Reed. Like 108 years old front three. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's running poor Vardy into the ground. I feel sorry for him. He's going to retire at an absolute low, getting relegated by Forest.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I with Cooper, when he came in, I kind of saw what he was doing, which was, and he was a big, obviously, believer in youth. He used to manage in England, under 23s, I think it was, or 21s, I'm not sure. But, his attitude was, And it'll be interesting to see how Ipswich, because Ipswich went completely the other way. We bought old stroke experience. I think there's a very thin line between old and experience. Ipswich went the other way, and they bought younger, inexperienced at this level players. Neither's worked because they're obviously down there with us as well. But I kind of get where he went, but he was starting. Mavididi, and he started more under Cooper. Not all the time, I will accept that. Buenete was probably our best player under Cooper. Now we hardly see him on the pitch at all. You know, like you say, you know, Cooper used AU and Dakova Reed as coming on at the last minute with their experience to either hold out for a draw, which we were getting under Cooper. You don't start those two, AU and Dakova Reed. I mean, I know Rude stuck with them, but for God's sake, man, you know what I mean? It's in that game the other day, and I guess you watched it against West Ham. Our midfield was actually run past by West Ham players running up to support their attack, and they were out running our midfield, running back to help defend. What the fuck's going on?
There's no graft, no fight. People are walking back when they're tracking back. It was a complete disgrace across the pitch. The only people there that look like they put a shift in is Bilal and Victor Christiansen, and that's it. The rest just did not look bothered at all.
No, definitely. And that's the thing, isn't it? And Rude's come out, and this is what I think about Rude. He is such a bullshitter. You know, I expect at his press conference to turn the video on and just see his bum sat there. You know, it's his bum talking into the microphone because he talks out of his arse so much. I'm going to start these youngsters, then we never see them. I'm going to and all this, you know, all these promises, and now he's come out and said, "Oh, we can do the Great Escape again." No, we fucking can't, because that Great Escape team actually had balls, and you know, we never. Every game in that Great Escape season, you thought, we're a bit unlucky there and we could have won it. We weren't getting stuffed like we are this season. There's no way we're going to do a Great Escape, is there?
There's no way. We're completely just been bent over and it's all over. Like, there's just no fight there whatsoever. There's no belief. Like, you've seen the team could just capitulate after one goal. It's the same story every single week. We start slow people up top. We create nothing. We look good for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then we just fall apart, and it just never feels like we get back into it. The attack is just, there is no attack. It's completely barren.
I mean, we haven't scored in, you know, not just a new Premier League record, but a top flight record from like 1860 or something, to have gone 6-7 games without scoring a goal. I mean, it's just embarrassing. And what Neil Lennon, and I don't often agree with Robbie Savage, but I have to agree with so much he was saying on the commentary. And Neil Lennon has absolutely laid in and said, you know, what a shambles, no fight, etc. I'm going to ask you straight out, we've got 10 days probably, or 9 days till the next game. Do we sack Rude now?
I think we're stuck with him for the rest of the season. I think we stick with him for the rest of the season because we're going down anyway. I think the morale's that bad, and I don't think any team's ever stayed up after getting in a third manager in the top flight, and it's going to cost money. And I think that rot will follow us into the championship. I think that he's going to have to go at the end of the season. But we need to let's talk about like a legitimate plan. We can't just keep on making spare of the moment decisions. Like, let me ask you this, Chris. Like, this is what frustrates me the most. You go from Enzo Ball to Cooper, complete opposite, no long-term vision or plan or continuity in terms of players and style and recruitment. So we go from, you know, young players that could, you know, turn a profit on Fatawi, possibly Akin if we even kept him, Mads Manson, stuff like that. And then we go to Bobby Reed, IU, giving Vestergaard, 33 years old, a 3-year deal. This just doesn't make any sense. So if we just sack someone else now, let's say hypothetically we go for Sean Dyche, which everyone keeps screaming for, a firefight. Yeah, I like the idea of it. But is he someone that you want in charge of you in 2 or 3 years' time? Do you not think we should just pick a style of play and then just commit to it for the next 3 or 4 years, like Brighton would, for example?
No, and I'll tell you for why. First of all, Vestergaard's 3-year extension was something that Enzo wanted. I think when you look at what happened to Burnley. They stuck with the style of play that they came up with and went straight back down again. I don't think Enzo Ball. Well, look, I don't think. I know Enzo Ball's not working for Leicester City. It's struggling to work sometimes for Chelsea, and it's Pep Ball, whatever you want to call it, isn't even working for Manchester City at the moment. And I think what you've got to do, and we say this so often, define insanity, or the insanity is trying the same thing all over and over and over and over again, hoping that eventually it will come good. And that is what Rude is doing. He's sticking with the same formation, and he's sticking with virtually at least 8 of the same players week in, week out. Yes, he's finally dropped Winks, etc. But at some point, you have to look at that and go, this ain't working. Yes, this is the style I want to play, but the players I've got can't fucking play that way. So whether it's 4-4-2, 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever, you have to look and say, okay, what I want to do at the moment isn't working. What's the best formation? And that's what for the manager to work out. He's got them in training, try different formations, see what works. Because at the moment, we can't even pass the fucking ball to each other. We pass the ball and it goes out of play. You have to adapt. And this is something that Rude is not doing. How many more games? We can pick the team now for the Chelsea game. We know Ayew and Dakova Reed will probably start. Vardy up front. Wout Faes, like I say, he's got, more bow-legged than John Wayne getting off his horse. The ball just goes through. Vestergaard, who I liked last season, Diarrhea runs quicker than he does. Let's be honest with you. That's how shit he is. We have to adapt to the way that they are playing to stand a chance of getting up or staying.
100%, mate. Like, you know better than anybody. Someone said, Chris, how much does Luke hate Pats and Daka? You would have hours of material on your channel about me slagging him off. I've been calling for him to play for 4 or 5 weeks just because we're just running Vardy into the ground. Like, it's just something the front three is just, look, I could talk about a long list of multitude of what's wrong with our club right now. It would take too long. But yes, I agree. Ruud Venestory doesn't have a clue what he's doing. It is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. And you know what's even more depressing? I feel like we get worse every week, incrementally. Do you agree?
Yeah, we say that, don't we? We say like, oh my God, that's the worst performance of the season. And we'll say that against Chelsea, and we'll say that against... And that's another record that's coming up. I don't think any team, certainly not in the Premier League, has ever lost to the same team 4 times in one season. That could happen against Man United.
It will happen.
Sorry?
It probably will happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's another record we don't want that we're going to have. Thank you very much, Rude. But you have to adapt. And look, we've got all these youngsters that are supposedly the thing of the product of the training ground. All right, they're out on loan, etc., etc. So don't fucking send them on loan. Get them back in if we can. I know some of the deals don't allow us to, but if we can get them back in, because I tell you what, Alves or Sumare, who would I sooner have on there at the moment? Alves, because he can't do any fucking worse. And at least if Rude made the effort and said, right, I'm going to play a different style this week, or I'm going to pick a load of different players this week, from the youth team, at least I have the respect for him and say, at least he's trying to do something rather than just sat in the changing room, wanking off against the wall at half time because he hasn't got a fucking clue what to say to the players.
That's the thing, right? Like, we had ample opportunity to, he's already come out and said stupid stuff. Like, he talks out his ass, I knew what I was in for when I signed a 3-year contract. Basically alluding that he's ready to take the bull by the horns in the championship with what he has available of the youth. But he had all the time in the world to play them in 2 FA Cup games in his time here, and he didn't play 1. Like, what's even more egregious is that we only have basically Jamie Vardy, 38 years old, to be dependent on as a striker. He won't play Daka. We've got 90k wages on Edouard, and we were told that we...
Don't on Edouard. Don't stop me on Edouard.
Ryan, he can't even make the bench. Why, if we only bought Woyu in for 3 million, and the chances are that we're going to get relegated anyway and go down to the championship where it had been established that Cannon had been doing really well, and he's at a young age where he could be the future, and he was on a 5-year deal as well. What the fuck did we sell him for? I want to know. Why the fuck did we sell it?
I want to know as well, because that money was supposed to be freeing up money to bring players in. It fucking wasn't. Now, you can say that, well, Cannon's not very good. He might be injured, etc., etc. Well, he wasn't looking too injured when he's been playing recently. Okay, they're saying he's not good enough for the Premier League. Jamie Vardy's not good enough for the Premier League this season. Daka's not good enough for the Premier League this season. Give Cannon a go. He's young. At least he'll have some fight in him. Funny thing is, okay, he's a championship player. Guess what? That's where we're going to be next season. And you know what? If he's not good enough for the Premier League, funnily enough, the club he's playing for, Sheffield United, are probably going to be in the Premier League next season. What the fuck is going on? It's absolutely shite decisions like that, you know. And we've got Edward. Sorry, mate. We've got Edward, 90 grand a week. Now, I've criticised him in the past. It wasn't a signing I wanted. Maybe it was a desperate signing. We needed a striker. But we fucking signed that guy on a deal where we can't send him back. Now, you know, that's also happened with Buenete as well. Brighton could never have recalled him because they signed and agreed that we could have him for the whole season. So, yeah, we make those sort of decisions, but then so do other clubs. We went into that Man United FA Cup game. Vardy was injured. Daka started. Daka got injured. Where was our £90,000 striker? Probably at home knitting some socks. Because he could have been... We brought Buenete on as a striker. He's not a fucking striker. We've got a £90,000 striker, a weak striker, sat there twiddling his thumbs. I don't know if he's good or bad. Let's get him on and give him a chance to prove himself. He can't be fucking worse than Vardy or Daka. Or is it the fact that we need to have two up front?
We're paying him 90 grand a week, I think it is, or 70 grand a week to have a sabbatical at the Seagrave Hotel for 12 months. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's fucking insane. And do you know what winds me up the most about the whole thing? About the whole January transfer debacle? We were talking about, we're trying to comply with FFP. We had to clear room. We just talked about that already of Cannon. But the reality is we could have taken a points deduction and given ourselves a best chance possible of staying up and worried about it next season. Or we could not sign anyone to comply with FFP where it's redundant because we're going to get relegated anyway, with a transfer embargo in place waiting for us, possibly a points deduction. So it means we won't be... That January transfer window I viewed as a summer transfer window as well in the case that we get relegated because, you know what I mean, we can't sign anyone next season. So that was stupid. So you try to comply with FFP for nothing to get relegated.
Yeah, we're totally fucked. And... you know, our biggest signing was a couple of £1 million on a right back. Then he doesn't play. He still insists on playing a left back in the fucking right back role. And, you know, I mean, Greg said, could either of you see us scoring in our next 6 games? No, I couldn't see us scoring for the rest of the fucking season. I've got more chance of scoring with, you know, and next door blonde. And we just it's never going to happen because the way we play... we can't play with one up front because Vardy sat there going, hello, I'm here. Yeah, Christensen goes forward with the ball, ends up passing back. We need 2 up front, but fucking Ruud van Cocked-Upperoy will never change his tactics, but he needs to, doesn't he?
Yes, of course he does, but he won't. He's probably going to start IU and everything again. I don't know about 2 up front. I just feel like how many times even on the Cooper have you seen like a transition or some kind of counter attack from us and you see one of our wingers take the ball at pitch and you might have Vardy in the box with about 4 defenders around him and no one else joins in the attack. No one box crashes, which is completely toothless. There's just so many things wrong. I think we're missing the 8s, to be honest with you, having Dewsbury Hall and Ndidi joining in the attack alongside the wingers, the striker dropping deep to link up play as a false 9. I'm basically describing Enzo Ball, but it's just I'm so used to seeing basically us attacking 5 to seeing us attack with 2. It's just completely, and then so we've got, and then what your argument could be, oh, we're trying to be a bit more short up about defense. Well, we're shipping more goals under Ruud. We're playing a high line, and we're playing a high line many times with Yannick Vestergaard, where we know he can't play. So essentially, Ruud van Nistelrooy is a poor man, Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion.
I don't even think he's that good. I mean. I would say to you now, and we mentioned, like, would you have Brendan Rodgers back? Because I would.
Oh, I would take him back, and I can't believe this is the same thing as Cooper. I can't believe I'm admitting that. Actually, do you know what? I wouldn't actually. I'm just too proud for that one. No, I fucking wouldn't. I wouldn't. I retract that statement.
I would 100%. I'd have fucking Peter Taylor back. Now, you're probably too young to remember Peter Taylor. I'd have anybody back. But why can't we? Like, we've given Rude a 3-year contract. If we get relegated, like you said, points deduction, transfer embargo, management plans put in place, we ain't coming back up for 10 years, 10 seasons. We're down there. I might never see my club back in the Premier League again. Because, and is Rude the person to bring us back up? No, he's not. There's no plan there. At least Enzo had a plan. You know what I mean? So why are we giving these managers? And then I guess with Ruud van Nistelrooy, it was sort of top going, oh my God, this is Ruud van Nistelrooy. I'm going to have Ruud van Nistelrooy as the manager at my club. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, go on, offer him whatever he wants. 10-year contract. Yeah, give it to him. Fuck off, Top. He did that with Sven. It doesn't work. Stop getting these names in. And yes, I wanted Ruud, but it hasn't worked. But why are we giving them 3-year fucking contracts? Because go to Sean Dyche and say, look, I'll give you £1 million between now and the end of the season. And if you keep us up, I'll give you $1.5 million. But then we'll redo it. Yeah, no problem. Just seen your message. You know what I mean? It is
like Dean Smith, essentially.
Yeah.
Why
not? Why not? This guy ain't going to keep us up, and this guy ain't going to get us back up. But look, I want to talk. Look, Vestergaard. I loved him last season. Daka, I didn't particularly think he was brilliant, but I just thought he got unfair stick. Sumare, what a waste of space he is.
What even is he? He barely makes tackle. Like Eddie's glimpses of good moments he has, like similar to Daka, which too far in between. He might make a progressive run at the pitch, but he can't defend. He will never box crash or take a shot on goal. I feel like he's this weird hybrid. I don't even know what sort of particular position he is. It's just a real shame that they were both in the same transfer window, weren't they? Him and Daka.
Do you think that Sumare would play better without Ndidi, or Ndidi would play better without? We haven't got that. Like you say, if we had still had KDH, we'd probably say KDH and Ndidi, they wouldn't be getting under each other's way. And we have got somebody that can do that in Will Alves, but of course we've sent him out on loan.
Another stupid one, and one that wasn't utilised as well. We've still got Golding that we paid $5 million for. And we haven't even seen him in feature at all since a pre-season. Where's he? What's he doing? I think you've really hit the nail on the head with the whole transfer window at the start of the season, why we brought him in with the KDH deal, so it showed nothing on the books for the first season. I think in the double pivot position alongside Ndidi, to answer your question, if he was fit and available, and it's a shame I don't think he ever will be the same, I would actually have Ricardo Pereira alongside Ndidi. They're used to each other. If we get really hit badly on transition, Ricky P can drop straight back into that right back position and help out. In my opinion, attacking with the right back as getting involved in the attack of play, the distance for him, let's say JJ, for example, would go basically push up into the right wing position. A ball goes over the top or we get hit in the counter. The distance for him to track back and help out means that Wout Faes has to leave his man to track JJ's man. It's basically a 2-on-1. You see the calamity at the back. We ship a goal. It's, in my opinion, it's just not working.
No, and let's be honest with you, if he does bring Ricky P back, he'll probably play him up front. Or no, he won't play him up front because he'll have Danny Ward up front, won't he? He'll play Ricky P in goal. I mean, that's the other thing. What the fuck is he doing? We need a right back. We need to get a right back. Yeah, we'll bring a right back. Oh, we don't start a right back. We'll carry on playing the left back. And I know he can play right back, but he's a left back. We'll carry on playing him at right back. What the fuck? Why? He's not a right back. And how many goals have we conceded down that side? And I love JJ, but he's not a right back. And if it's a case of having him and Christian fighting for the same place, so be it. But I've got to ask you about the player, and I mentioned him before, that I absolutely hate at the moment. And he isn't necessarily the only player that's bad, but this guy, when he played for his international team in the last international break, one of his national papers from his own country gave him 0 out of 10 in the rating. That's how bad he is. The guy against in the two West Ham games that we've not in the two West Ham, the two Brentford games that we played, that's 180 minutes. He made 3 tackles. As a fucking centre back, without phase, he's taking somebody else's oxygen up. Like I say,
I hate him. Someone needs to get the clippers to him and shave that fucking stupid sideshow wig off his head. And the arrogance of the player, blaming everyone every time and putting his arms up, telling him who interviews going to explore his options. Go explore them, then you fuckwit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's like, who's going to want you? You're an absolute calamitous. Like, 2 relegations to your CV. Like, it's just we're basically the same back 4 that we went down with last time. It's just I could moan forever about this, mate. But then it's just like replacing shit with all of our centre backs. Like, Corley's are only
we haven't got the centre back. We've got Cody. We've got
Corley.
We've got we've got and Wanker Faye. I was calling him that during the watch along. I decided not to call him Vout Phase, just called him Wanker, and everybody knew I was referring to. But I mean, he just watches the ball go in the net. That second goal against first goal against West Ham, he was just stood there. He didn't try and close the player that was down. The ball's hit Emanson. It's gone away from me. Oh, what was that going past me into the net? And then he'll do the what? I mean, we haven't got a lot of choice, so let's try something different. Let's have 3 centre backs. Let's play Luke Thomas at centre back. I never thought I'd be saying that, and what have you. But we're down, aren't we? We are down.
We're down, mate. I would rather just go back to Enzo Ball. I'd rather play JJ on the left, Coley in the middle, Woyo on the right, and then just have Ricky P and Ndidi in front of them. But we won't see that with him coming back over time. And he'll probably get slowly integrated into the team coming back from such a massive injury, Ricardo. And by the time he's fit and available, and if he's not injured again, granted, the season will be over. We'll already be relegated. Just play the kids at the moment. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. Play the kids at the moment. What we got to lose, we're down anyway, and get them ready. Last question. I know you've got to go, and thank you for coming on. I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh yes. How much does it hurt if we do go down that Leeds will be coming the other way?
I have to admit, it is painful. But if there is any Leeds fans in the chat, if you want, I'll still mail you a Southampton jersey. Give the knee. They went proper quiet when we went up last time, and they didn't go anywhere. They gave it large all season, and they vanished. And now they come out of the woodwork and hate watch on us. It really goes to show how bitter they are, and they still have sore knees from bending it so badly. They've all got arthritis in their knees from last season. But hey, maybe I'll come out of the woodwork when it's all but likely they're going to get relegated themselves and see how brutal the Premier League is and how much
exactly.
Complete difference of play.
Yeah, Daniel Parker hasn't actually got a good record at keeping teams up.
No, 2 relegations. Like, you know what I mean? Like, see you, mate. Like, you ugly blacksmith-looking bastard. Like, he's probably going to get sacked too next season.
Luke, thanks for coming on. Give all my best to Steph. You're getting married in April. Is it April?
Yes, it is.
It is April. We'll speak to you again, hopefully. We'll do this again. We'll do this again one Saturday morning.
Yeah, 100%, mate. We'd love that.
It's great to have you back on. Appreciate it. Give my best to Steph. And I will see you. I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Take care, mate. Good to have you. Good to see you. Take care, everyone.
Good to see you. And enjoy the weekend. He had to go very, very quickly there. Thanks to Luke for coming in. Unfortunately, we got a bit of a mix-up with the timing. So he originally was going to be 9 o'clock. He thought it was tomorrow. You know what these Aussies are like, honestly. No sense of time. Frustrated as always, and I think we all are. We just, I mean, who are we playing next? Chelsea, isn't it? For the actual, what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim out my post-match from West Ham, and I'll play it again. I'll just do that. Then we can go home early. I do enjoy the championship, though. I do enjoy the championship. I will see you. I'm going over yet. Get over to the. I've forgotten. Bless him. Let me just tell you what channel it is. But I'm over there discussing Leicester. Fortunately, it's a Leeds fan. It's also a Liverpool fan as well. It's the Totally Levy, I think. Here we go. The Totally Levy and Home Horns, honestly. It's too early, this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the description. I'm going to be over here in... I'm going to be over there in about 20 minutes. Go and catch me. The Totally Levy and Horn football podcast. I'm going to try and put a smile on my face and pretend I'm happy. It's going to be even worse talking to a Leeds fan. The link is there in the chat. Come and follow me over. Please like, subscribe if you want, and click that notification bell. Listening on podcast, thank you very, very much. And if you're listening on catch up, you can still add your comments in below. Do appreciate them. Take care, guys. I will see you, if not in about 20 minutes, I'll see you Monday night for the weekend review. Can't wait. Take care, guys. I will see you in a bit. Take care.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.